Let's go back into what Ali Sadiq was saying. Let's break this down bar by bar. Hold on. Let's break this down bar by bar.
And then wait
That
for
is
me.
a stone cold fact. We got to understand when the sound went to Atlanta, that's when the corporations got involved. LaFace had major backing. LaFace was a boutique label that had backing. You got to remember that. In the 90s, a lot of the record industry started relocating down to Atlanta. That's why if you're on my Patreon, I have a show called How Atlanta Killed Rhythm and Blues. And maybe I think I'm gonna do an updated version on how Atlanta killed rhythm and blues. I'm gonna redo that. I'm gonna redo that one pretty soon. I'll probably do it. That'll definitely be a Patreon because that show on how Atlanta killed rhythm and blues is there has to be played with music. So that will be a Patreon. Because I'm going to talk about it from the standpoint of once R&B got to Atlanta through LaFace, that's when they started really stripping a lot of instrumentation and layers away. That's when they started stripping away background singers. That's when they really stripped away horns. Well, Minneapolis sound stripped away the horns. That's the Minneapolis sound in the mid '80s. They took out the horns. Um, but Atlanta took out the live drums, the live sound that really the layering, the beautiful orchestration. By the time R&B got to Atlanta, that shit was gone. You just basically had good lyrics, a good singer, and a beat that's programmed like you would program a hip hop song. And that's when rhythm and blues died. The traditional rhythm and blues. But I'll do a show on Patreon on that next week. That should be pissing people off, but I don't give a fuck about pissing people off because we have to tell the truth. Because through telling the truth, that's how we're gonna fix things. But when it comes to the hip hop side of it, Houston established all this shit from the South. Now I'm going to make some corrections from what Ali Sadiq said right
Tell
here.
me.
No, 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 no. It's not. Rap-A-Lot is not the first indie label. Alonzo Williams, the Wrecking Crew. Alonzo Williams had his own independent label with the Worldwide Wrecking Crew before NWA. Out here in LA, I think I was like 80, 81. What was it called? The first label that did hip hop was Sugar Hill Records, Sylvia, over in New York. They're the first commercial label, but they also had that Italian mafia backing. You had Profile Records in '81 that released early in the Run DMC. You also had Tommy Boy Records out of New York. So New York has some of the earliest independent, but a lot of those record labels also did other forms of music. Then we all know of Def Jam in '84. But you also had in '80 Crew Cut Records out of LA. And I think that was either '80 or '81. You had Crew Cut Records. And those record labels were started around the same time of and before Tommy Boy and Profile. You had Crew Cut Records, and you also had out of Oakland Too Short, establishing his independent scene in 1980. He didn't have Too Short didn't have a formal label at the time, but Too Short was his own record label independent when he would go around with those tapes and he would get those tapes and basically produce his own music by recording a loop or getting an instrumental and recording raps and going around the city of Oakland and making raps about the hustlers in the city of Oakland. That was 1980, 81. Gotta remember that. Then, so that part Ali Sadiq was slightly wrong, but he was right in the context of Houston. That's a half truth. He did get a lot of game from Jay, but before, he also got game in Oakland from Too Short. A Masterpiece spent a lot of time in Oakland. And again, this goes back to prove my point about hip hop being a Black American cultural tradition, because when Master P did No Limit, he didn't have to go to the birthplace of hip hop, New York. No, he came to Oakland and then he went to Houston. And through Oakland and Houston, he learned how to do his thing in New Orleans. Nowhere is Jamaica involved. Nowhere is Puerto Rico involved. Nowhere is New York involved. The way Too Short put together his records wasn't some Cool Herc merry-go-round. Short would literally get 2 tapes and loop a tape and record that loop on a tape. The same, and that's how Oakland hip hop got its thing going. Had nothing to do with Cool Herc, had nothing to do with Jamaica, had nothing to do with Puerto Rico, even had nothing to do with New York. This is a Black American cultural art form. And in 86, you get Luke's record label, Skywalker. You get Rap A Lot, and you also get Ruthless out of LA. LA, Houston, Miami, 1986. The Miami sound comes from LA, not New York. So as you see hip hop's early days of forming, we're learning from each other all throughout the nation. There's an interconnectedness within Black American culture that doesn't need inspiration from, if you listen to KRS-One tell it or Pete Rock tell it, they'll tell you it's Jamaican. And I know we're going to get people, I always get those people, like when I clip this up, there are going to be people saying, oh, you're just hating on New York. Get over yourself. If that's how you feel. Fuck you and your feelings. I'm not here to appease anybody's feelings, but I am here to give credit where credit is due. Because Rap A Lot Records, Scarface, Prince, they shouldn't be Willie D. These people shouldn't be othered and put into the side and written out of history, because instead of talking about them, you want to say hip hop has Caribbean and Jamaican influences. And you can't name not one goddamn influence. But you will literally, that's how, again, Black people, I'm telling you, this is how you're written out of history. And this is why I appreciate Ali Sadiq for speaking up, but I need Jay Prince to speak up and tell his story. We need Birdman to speak up and tell his story. We need everybody to just tell your story. I interviewed Alonzo from the Wrecking Crew last year. Y'all can look it up. It's on this channel. And I got his story on this channel on how he started his early record label with the Wrecking Crew and the early days of Dr. Dre, Arabian Prince. You know what I mean? I got that story documented on this channel. This is how we thwart being written out of history. Because the story of how Jay Prince got Houston cracking is 1,000 times more interesting than Kool Herc's sound system. I promise you. Promise you. Because 99.9% of y'all listen to some hip hop this morning without a sound system. You listen to your cheap ass car speakers that sound like IBM computer speakers. You listen on your cheap ass Beats headphones. We all know Beats headphones ain't shit, and I got a pair, but they ain't shit. You listen to them on Apple headphones. These are my other ones. I love now these motherfuckers right here. These headphones are the shit. $500 goddamn dollars they better be. But ain't none of that shit the sound system. But they'll tell you and spend 45 minutes talking about Kool Herc sound system that ain't nobody heard but 50 people at that little ass party. Meanwhile, you just finished listening to goddamn the clips on some cheap ass Sony earbuds. And they'll say, well, the sound system is the reason why hip hop took off. No, hip hop took off because people like Jay Prince and Eazy-E invested their street money into artists. That's how hip hop took off. People putting their money into artists that they believed in, not because of Kool Herc's merry-go-round. Okay? And all of this ties into what we were talking about earlier with that Haitian lady talking all that shit about Black Americans. This is why you gatekeep your culture. You'll be sharing it with somebody like her if you don't. Let's keep going. That's the South. Let's clarify that you're not the only home, because New York had its independent labels, but California is what really kicked off that independent, non-mainstream label. You got to start with California. California, then Houston. That's the timeline. But Houston was the incubator for the South. And it makes sense that Houston was the incubator for the South. Why? Because the relationship between California and Texas. If you're in California, your family reunions are in Texas. Some in Louisiana. But for the most part, your family reunions are in Texas if you're in California. That's why in my book that I'm writing right now, you have to have a cultural understanding of Black America and our migration patterns, where we move. Texas, California, California, Texas. So our music sounds really close too. Now, California ain't got no goddamn screw music. That's completely Houston. But when you listen to a lot of the Scarface's production, it fits. That's why in Houston, you can have, what's that song? It's very California. Devin the Dude. I love Devin the Dude. That's my nigga right there. Never met him in person, but shit. You can have songs like this. That shit come out of Houston, but boy, if that ain't LA. If that ain't Oakland. If that ain't LA and Oakland, I don't know what is. That's why Black people, we have a culture, a cultural continuity throughout the nation. And this is why we got to get rid of them regional beefs. We have to acknowledge where our shit come from. But all that regional shit, fuck that.
Left is for us to exchange. called her up on the phone, said I'll be there in a minute. Cause all them faces she be making when I'm in it.
Too Short didn't have to change his flow up to get on a Scarface and Devin the Dude. Because we family. We are a family, people.
Never change. Money brings. It seems to me you both will never.
That's man, that's right in the same line with Snoop. Stacey Adams.
G'd up from the feet up. Not only back, but make it spectacular. Put on my black cape and.
It's just a certain thing. That's cocaine production. Cocaine and Face sound very, 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 very close. Different regions. That's why this regional beefing is bullshit. But it's still different. But Scarface and Cocaine were both grew up on Parliament Funkadelic. So those two songs have a similar feel of songs like this. And if you watch it later, the music stuff is gonna get taken out if you watch later. So you gotta go to Patreon and get the music part.
The way you move, your sexy body. I'm liking the things you do.
Both of those grooves come out of a deep funk, Parliament Funkadelic feel. James Brown gave you the dance funk, but it was Parliament Funkadelic that gave you the deep funk. And it's out of deep funk. Songs like this by Parlette.
Don't ever stop loving me. And don't.
That's where both Cocaine's production with Snoop that was on No Limit in New Orleans comes from. Snoop, West Coast. Cocaine, West Coast. Stacey Adams was done on The Last Meal, which was done through No Limit, New Orleans. Is Jamaica anywhere involved in the sound? Y'all heard both of those deep cut funk hip hop tracks. Are y'all following along with me, chat? Press the number one, chat, if you following along with me. What's that song? Now you got songs like this. Houston rap.
I sit alone in my
This is what turned me on to Houston when I was a kid. I love this song.
right, but I ain't going out without a. At night I can't sleep. I toss and turn candlesticks.
That's how we started.
But I ain't going out without a fight. See, every time my eyes close, I start sweating.
My mind's playing tricks on me. Well, my mind's playing tricks on me comes out of Memphis. And we're going to get to the Memphis-Houston connection in a moment. But that's a sample of Isaac Hayes. That's a song called Hung Up on My Baby by Isaac Hayes. You see the Memphis-Houston connection. We still ain't touched New York, but we got hip hop. Hear that? Memphis funk gave Houston hip hop its first nationwide hit. We still ain't got to New York. Then you get to DJ Screw. The chopped and screwed sound.
Damn. 3 in the morning. Still going down.
Hear that?
Hoes bopping. Money keep chopping. That's for real.
That's that chopped and screwed sound, right? Well, before we get chopped and screwed, you get funkadelic. Before it got to DJ Screw, because Screw did his own thing with it. But to show you the Black American culture, I'm just pointing out the Black American cultural lineage.
Your skin.
This is George Clinton.
The answer is in every question. Dig it? An attitude is all you need.
Does that not sound like chopped and screwed? That sounds like screwed without the chop. That's not chopped, but it's screwed. Does that not, do we not see the Black American cultural lineage and connection in the sounds? Do you have any connection to the Bronx? Is there any connection to Jamaica? Is there any connection to Puerto Rico? Am I making my point? And the crazy part about it is that song, Good Thought, Bad Thoughts, is on the same album as Funkadelic Rockin' the Fuck Out. That's the same album. Same album. Standing on the Verge. They going heavy metal and screwed on one album. And then on that same album by Funkadelic, you get a song that D'Angelo redid with Roy Hargrove, I'll Stay. This also sounds screwed. That was used in Roy Hargrove redid that. Who was out of where? Dallas. That was this album. And he is Roy Hargrove and D'Angelo. Black American cultural connection. They also, now this next song is a New Yorker, Q-Tip. That's on the same album as this, hip hop and neo soul combined. Oh, that sounds so beautiful, but that's Roy Hargrove out of Texas. Combined, and the link between jazz, soul and hip hop was done through Roy Hargrove. And when he brought that production, Q-Tip was able to fit right in the pocket. And on that same song, you got Erykah Badu. That's the same song. That's the second part of the same song, which then takes us into Atlanta. Let's go into Atlanta now. That same Erykah Badu out of Dallas, Texas, doing the neo soul sound that's got popularized in Philadelphia, that's primarily using LA samples from the Mizell brothers. She goes to Atlanta and does the same thing to Outkast. I think I can, I think I can. Our music fits in like a puzzle, like a glove. Black American music fits like this. That's why each region did something great. But our regions can jump around and fit like gloves. Yes, indeed, they can. The musical version is going to go over on Patreon. The non-musical version is going to stay up here on YouTube. So if you watch later, you just missed a bunch of dope-ass music. So chat room, am I making my point? Am I making my point, chat room? Am I making my point, chat? Yes, it's our cultural connection. Yes. Rocky tired of me. Hold on, y'all. Let me let Rocky out real quick. Go on, little nigga. Rocky tired of me talking so goddamn much and not giving him no attention. Okay, I'm making my point. I don't need anyone telling me don't forget. I cannot tell the complete book of music in a 2-hour-long YouTube show. Of course, I'm leaving people out. Y'all gotta understand that. Yes, I am most definitely leaving people out. I'm leaving songs out. I'm leaving connections out. But that the point of this is a proven overall point. So this is how you can identify a hater. I can bring all this to the evidence, and if their retort is still, well, New York still created it, and it was still okay. No, you're just a hater now. Because as you saw in them samples, hip hop. The reason why you can't give too much credit for the creation of hip hop, because hip hop didn't create any fucking music. It did so down the line, some original tracks. But let's tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. 80% of hip hop, the big shit, was mostly reliant on samples. Period. And the samples come from Black American rhythm and blues. Even if you're sampling the Bee Gees, you're sampling white boys who were acting like Black Americans. You sample the Beatles, you're sampling white boys that was trying to sound like Black Americans. Okay? You don't have original music. I did have the phone line open, but I'll take the phone call. What's up, Carl?
Hello,
What's your name? Where you
Dawn?
calling from?
Hey, it's Pascal. I called your program previously, like a couple of months ago. I'd asked a question about, how, people who are not of the FBA lineage, how they can contribute or, basically solidify themselves to the overall cause of, reparative justice and whatnot. And I told you, back in that call, I was of Haitian descent. Obviously, I still am of Haitian descent. Let me tell you right now, brother, I am very, very, very ashamed, very disappointed, very disgusted with that lady, that tether. That is a tether. That Haitian woman who's calling FBAs dirty, disgusting, and she did it with such contempt. She did it with such arrogance. Let me tell you something right now, Duan B. I've always said it's been time for FBAs to delineate. It's been time, just in general, for everyone to separate the wheat from the chaff, if you will. Separate the black people who are about business, who are about, justice, who are about reparative justice and, equality for all versus those who are clinging on to white supremacy and who are going to buck dance at any moment's notice, for the greater all approval of, dominant society or whatever. I just want to make it clear, Duan, and I'm sure you know this, and I've followed you for a minute. You know that this is not representative of all members of the Haitian community, but unfortunately, this is representative of a critical amount of them who have been problematic and who have, tried to stop black progress, but specifically FBA progress at every step. I just want to throw my, 2 cents into the situation, Duan. I'm a big time supporter of yours. I respect everything you do, from the music tip to you giving your insight on basketball to you just your general social commentary. Just know that, at least I can only speak for myself. I am not down like that. I have nothing but respect, love, and admiration for my FBA brothers and sisters. That lady is a terrible tether, and she deserves all the scorn, admonishment, hatred. And I hope when black people finally do get this, it's people like that who are put on the FBA Nuremberg trials.
I appreciate
so I just
that.
wanted to say that.
I appreciate the call, my man. Much support to you, man. Much love likewise, all right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And that's why we don't generalize. There's a lot of people out there who don't feel the way that those people feel. So, and salute to that brother, because those who don't feel like that and those who do support us, it's best that you get out the way when we shooting at those who don't, because we don't want y'all catching no shrapnel. Because old girls like that, we're gonna have to shoot at them, not literally, but proverbially, rhetorically, and we don't want the good ones in the way. But somebody earlier said, what did hip hop bring? The break beat. No. The break beat is funk. Again, how can hip hop create a break beat when hip hop didn't create a beat? Think about that for a second. How can hip hop create a break beat if hip hop didn't create a beat? Super chat. Could you interview the hip hop origins of New York from the history told by Black Americans, like DJ Faze? Yeah, I'm gonna interview DJ Faze one day. I do. I got Faze's phone number. I do want to link up with DJ Faze. If y'all notice, I've already been interviewing not many people at all the last year, but when I get back to doing my interviews, I most definitely will interview DJ Faze. She's like the scene in Sinners movie, the Sinners movie, Different Eras. Real talk, boss. But somebody said hip hop created the break beat. Now the break beat comes from an actual drummer.
Hey, shake the juice, bring it now. Get up, up. Get up, up for that thing.
I want to get to the break beat in this.
Battery deep.
Play your break beat, nigga. There go your break beat. The whole concept of a break beat comes from James Brown. In hip hop. And James Brown got the break beat concept from the king, the godfather of rhythm and blues, Louis Jordan, Caledonia.
She got great big feet. She long, lean, and lank, and ain't had nothing to eat. But she's my baby, and I love her just the same. Crazy about that woman, cause Caledonia is her name. Caledonia! Caledonia! I want to make your big head so hot. Ma, I love you.
There go your fucking break beat. I swear hip-hop niggas is the most musically illiterate motherfuckers out there, but talk the loudest. That be the thing. I hear what you're saying, El Senor. Hip-hop is a rebellious art, but a lot of our music is bebop was a rebellious art. I realize everything that hip-hop claims it stands on, its forefathers did it first. Funk was a rebellious art. Funk was a bad word. Funk was really a bad word, y'all. Like, yeah, no. Funk? They didn't even want funk said on the radio. And when you listen to George Clinton talk, the more America went disco, because disco, a lot of white folks liked it, the more disco America got, the more funky Parliament Funkadelic got. Funk was a resistance to this disco shit. Funkadelic only did one song that was close to disco. Party People. This is the only song. And of course, Africa Bambaataa also did his own version of Party People. We are those party people. This is as close as Parliament Funkadelic got to disco. That was as close as they got to disco. But they did not, on that same album, they came with this shit right here.
Nothing has.
What? This is when you had Junie Morrison spitting.
Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Treated in a situation. Nothing.
You saw right there the smooth. That's where hip hop comes from, nigga. Interconnectionness of Black American culture. And make sure y'all hit the super chat, because when I play that music, I get demonetized. I'm a demonetized. Hit me, hit the Cash App, $DeWanB1. Let me know you appreciate these episodes, because I'm demonetized like a motherfucker for playing all that music. I'm giving y'all ammunition. So when they call us dirty Black Americans, this is what they shitting on.